Welcome back. Today I'm going to be drawing Mickey Mouse from Fantasia. So let's get started. First going to start with his eye. I'm going to make an oval shape. And then I'll leave a little space in between and slightly starting a little further down his other eye. And again, it's just an oval shape. We're not going to close the bottom. And then in the upper left corner on each eye, we're going to make another smaller kind of oval shape for his pupils. And we can leave a little highlight. I'm going to shade that in and leave a little highlight in the top corner. Okay, coming around to form his nose, I'm going to add a curved line here, and then we're going to add an oval for his nose here with a little highlight on the tip. And again, I'll shade that in. Right, to round out his face, curved line that drops all the way down and around. And we'll give it a curved line here for the end of his mouth. And then here's his face. We'll round out the shape here. I'm going to stop here because we're going to make his kind of his sorcerer's robe. So I'll come back up here. I'm going to add the back of his head to his ear. Is going to kind of round out. Again, I'm going to leave a little opening because we're going to come back and form his hand. So I'm going to leave a little opening or space there, round out his ear. And let's make his hat. His hat kind of just comes all the way across and rounds over. And then we'll make a line that continues up to indicate the side of his face. All right, so a top line for the curve on his hat, which goes to his ear here. And let's finish off his the inside of his face. So this is just a line that comes up and around to his hat, and then indicated, or kind of we know that it's implied that it goes behind or under the hat, and then in the center of his face there. So we'll shade that little space in there. We know that's a dark area, and come to the top of his hat, and this is just going to be kind of a slanted triangle shape, and we'll bring it back down, and we'll put some designs on his hat. So maybe a moon and a star. And we'll put a star up here too. Smaller one, it's a little further away. Okay, let's come over here and just kind of round out the shape for his head here. This will be a shadow area. All right, coming over here, we're going to indicate again the top of his robe and his sleeve, and then his glove is going to start about here. So here's a little bump for the beginning of his, or the end of his sleeve, and we'll bring that around. And his hand is going to start here with his thumb, and that's why we left this opening here, and now we can kind of close it, and then his hand is going to come all the way out, and we'll do 3 curved lines, 1, 2, 3. We'll bring this back in, and then round out the other side of his hand. We'll bring down a curved line for his robe, and it kind of comes underneath and around. All right, so here's the collar of his robe. We'll bring it around underneath, and then we want to indicate the bottom of his mouth, which kind of comes center on his face, and just we'll drop a line right in there. All right, so the other side of his arm, or his other side of his body here, his cuff on this side, and then his hand and his thumb comes up and around, and we'll bring his hand out like this. So 1, again, 3 curved lines, 2, and then 3. We'll leave that little space there and bring it back in, and then his hand just kind of rounds out and back in toward the cuff. And we'll bring the rest of the robe in, and now we're going to just show this side of his body. So I'm going to bring a line that comes down. Maybe we'll do a fold there, and then bring another line out for a fold. Here's his shoe, kind of like a floppy triangular shoe, almost similar to Scarecrow if you followed along on that drawing. And we'll bring a line in the center to indicate the middle of his robe. Okay, and all the way across. Let's leave a little space here for his other shoe. All right, and then coming around here, and his robe just kind of hangs and comes back up along this side of his body. Here we'll indicate maybe that there's the kind of a tie that he has for the middle of his robe. And maybe it just kind of hangs down like this, a little knotted area. And bring that line back. And then just to show the other side of his body here, and we'll bring his arm back up and in. Under here we'll just kind of close it off as this part of the robe, and maybe we'll add another fold in his robe, and this part of his robe comes this way, and underneath a little shadow area in there. Let's close off his glove here. We'll just tighten up this area, and his hand leads in here, and a little cuff here for his glove because he does have gloves on as well. Okay, let's go into adding some color. So I'm first going to start with black marker and just fill in the rest of this darker area for his face and his ear. I'm just trying to go real slow here to stay inside the line. And just back and forth with a nice, gentle, even marker stroke. Okay, a little shadow area under here. And with the black, you can just kind of fill in any shadow areas that we talked about. So maybe here's inside the robe for a sleeve. That's another shadow area. And we'll come back if we need to fill in anything else with the shadow. Let's get into the red. Red is a color that's going to be used for a lot of the drawing here. So the red is the color of the robe that he's wearing. And we'll come back through here and fill this all in. Mickey is just such a classic character, and thought it'd be fun to draw. And also I selected this drawing because it does kind of always remind me of, you know, Mickey dressing up a bit, and a bit of Halloween kind of themed. So I thought again it'd be a fun drawing to make here. And just following the folds here in the robe. And again, we always talk about following the direction of the contour line. Kind of wherever the outside line is, the fold or the direction is the contour line. So you kind of want to follow that as you're adding in your marker stroke, and just kind of bring it along to follow that direction. So in this direction, we'll just kind of come down along this side of the robe. And again, it's more of in this vertical kind of a marker stroke. As here, I kind of turned it, and now I'm coming kind of curved all the way along until it kind of fades into the other side. Turns into more of a horizontal stroke. And here we'll kind of turn in a horizontal stroke. Okay, fill in the middle section. I'm getting to a kind of a darker sienna color for his shoes. across to his other shoe. All right, we're going to use this brown for kind of the rope that ties around his waist here too. Let's get into a yellow to add some contrast color to the details and the designs on his hat. So the moon and the stars. All right, now I'm going to get into a peach color for his face. If you're using marker like I am, just make sure you're not getting too close to the edge there or to the outlining lines, because it does tend to smear sometimes into a lighter color. I'm going to go back to the black for a moment here and just fill in some of the shadow areas. So come up here on his wrist and go along the side of his hat. And we'll even fill this in. Let's give it a little detail, and then we'll go back and add the blue over it. Let's add some detail lines to his shoes. A little detail line for the middle of his palm. Okay, now we're just going to use blue and fill out the rest of his hat here. And just getting in between some of these little areas and spaces in between the stars and the top of the hat. I'm just going to add this little area here. And that's going to conclude the drawing for Mickey from Fantasia. So I hope you guys enjoyed this one. Give him a try. It's a lot of fun. Bye.